And we are live with another episode of the Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish. A little bit earlier than usual, but I mean, hell, this is an hour-long program, and if everyone's here, might as well get started a little bit early. So, before we go any further, who wants to introduce themselves first?
I'll start.
All right.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. This is Joy Lemon Star, the Gaming Mage. Welcome you to the Sci-Fi Power-ish.
All right.
Guess it's my turn. This is
Yeah.
Pedophile from Video Game Facts, and shout outs to one of my Discord friends, Riley, who is watching this podcast at this very moment.
Amazing. Well, that's great. Hello, thank you for showing up. And it's me, Mr. Red Fox. We're trying to grow another show on the channel aside from just BS Busters. So, and this is it. But before we get any further, I guess we should talk about what we're going to be talking about in this episode of Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish. So basically, we've had some big news this week from DC and Marvel. About their comic book franchises. We also have some big news coming from Netflix about a Marvel franchise they licensed. So let's get to that news first, and then in the second half of the podcast, we'll get to the more our opinion. Well, our opinion side of things. So basically, the big news this week is that James Gunn's been hired to write and direct Suicide Squad 2.
That's news to me.
Yes.
Didn't that movie get a drop?
Well, the first movie sucked, but this one is supposed to be written and directed by James Gunn, so it'll probably be a better movie. I'm still not going to watch it because I don't like those characters, and I don't particularly like what Warner Brothers has been doing with their DC films, but, it's probably going to be better just by virtue of James Gunn working on it, because James Gunn has some experience working with quirky teams of characters who are almost villains doing things. It's not that much of a stretch for him to go to a quirky team of villains doing things. Your guys' thoughts on that?
Hoping it does better, but expectations are looking like they're in the sewer.
And
all right.
I know this will probably mean that the jokes will be better since it's James Gunn involved, but considering that this is Warner Brothers and the DCEU universe we're talking about, I have low expectations.
Yeah, because the last time they got a quote-unquote Marvel guy to fix one of their movies, it was Joss Whedon, and Joss Whedon couldn't even fix the
trash.
Well, I was gonna say the train car that was filled with human feces that was Justice League. So, like, not even Superman could save that. So, could save that shit. So, I don't know if James Gunn can fix just how broken Suicide. I mean, because it's like a fundamental flaw with the very premise that they have. It's like good writing can only take you so far when the premise, the foundation is messed up. But hey, I could be wrong. In order to fire back at that news, Marvel realized they had to do something, seeing that the public firing of James Gunn for tweets he did over a decade ago in bad taste. They were in bad taste tweets, but I don't think he should have been fired for it. They announced Ryan Coogler is back to write and direct Black Panther 2. To no one's surprise, because I think Black Panther 2 is like the highest grossing domestic film.
I thought it was Black Panther 1
after Titanic. No, yeah, Black Panther is the highest grossing domestic film after Titanic, or maybe it surpassed Titanic if you adjust for inflation. I don't know, but basically, what I'm saying is that, of course, they were going to get the same guy to come back to direct and write the shit. I mean, come on.
And perhaps expand on whatever plot holes the first movie left.
I don't know where. I mean, like, here's the thing. As long as they bring back T'Challa in the next Avengers film and bring back some of the key characters, it's going to be very interesting to see what the next Black Panther movie is going to be. Because obviously it's probably going to be about like it'll probably be a more conventional Black Panther story. I don't know, but I mean I'll watch it because I like the first one. So your guys' thoughts on that?
Looking forward to it.
There's going to be some high expectations of this movie.
All right.
Good luck with the pressure valve.
Well, I mean, I think Ryan Coogler can pull it off. I mean, because he's like I've watched some of his other films and they're pretty good. I mean, like different levels of watchability, not because they're bad, but because like Fruitvale Station is based on a true story where this young Black man was shot unarmed in California, and that's hard shit to watch. But you know, but directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan. So I mean, you know, probably be good. And the other bit of news is that Netflix finally did what we all thought they would do, which was they pulled the plug on Iron Fist over there at. That
one I just recently read.
What?
That news I just recently read.
Yeah, they pulled the plug on it. I'll let you guys give your thoughts, and then I'll give my thoughts. So, what do you think about them pulling the plug on Iron Fist at Netflix?
Well, I mean, hearing that was a vast improvement upon the last season.
Yeah, that's true. The second season of Iron Fist was better than the first season, but
it was still on BS ground.
Well, the reason behind it is because they had to work with what was left off from the first season.
How can I put this? I think that the second season was better than the first season. I agree with you guys on that. But I think the first season was so bad.
That's how I was saying that that was already on bad ground.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like if you took a class for a year, for a full academic year, and you basically got Fs for like 3 quarters, and then the last quarter you get an A. You're still gonna fail that class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's basically they had to, like, season 2 had to suffer for the shit show that was season 1. Because Marvel just, I mean, for some reason the TV side of Marvel keeps on hiring Scott Buck, which I don't know why they keep on hiring Scott Buck, because whenever he becomes showrunner of a show, he runs it to the goddamn ground. He ran Dexter into the ground. He ran Lost into the ground. He ran what was that other show that Scott Buck, The Inhumans, into the ground. Like, basically Scott Buck is the kiss of death for a TV show.
I was about to say he did Lost. I wonder why
he did like the last season of Lost. You know, the season where everyone's like, man, Lost has gone downhill. That was Scott Buck. Dexter, the season where everyone's like, man, the final season of Dexter sucks. Scott Buck. Like, basically, if you have a show that starts out really good, or a brand that starts out really good, and then there's like a season where it just seems like it shit the bed and then stayed in it and rolled around in it, that's a Scott Buck season. Like, he is the death knell of a franchise. He's not good.
I was surprised to hear that he did Lost.
Yeah, he did like the last season of Lost.
And
he was
also,
the showrunner of last season.
Now it makes me wonder: is he the EA of movies? I mean, of TV
or Activision?
He's just the kiss of death. Like, if he's the showrunner of a show, it's just not going to be good. Like the Inhumans, as soon as they said, "How could the Inhumans be like this?" They're like, "Oh, the showrunner Scott Buck." I'm like, "Well, there we go." We got no more, sir. Say no more. I'm,
At least we can agree that seeing somebody that has that kind of record, it means they aren't coming back.
let me just ruin this for everybody. Oh God, please no. Well, I mean, the thing about Scott Buck is that he'll pump out a show quickly and cheaply. It's not going to be very high quality, but he'll get it out. But personally, the way I feel about it is, like I said, Iron Fist was so bad that like the first season was so bad that literally there was nothing they could do. Because it was mishandled from the start. Like instead of here's the problem with Iron Fist as part of their Defenders combo, right? Is that basically Iron Fist is rendered redundant, okay? Because Jessica Jones is arguably the most powerful of the characters in the Netflix street level heroes universe, right?
Right.
And then you've got Luke Cage. He's the second most powerful, but he's like more like I'm down with the people type guy. And then you got Daredevil, right? Matt Murdock, he kind of fills the niche that Iron Fist is supposed to fill, because if you follow the lore that they present in the show, and it's also from the comics, he also trained with Stick, who's a member of the Chaste. So he's got the martial arts thing down. And he can also do the meditation thing, not to the extent of Iron Fist, but he can do that too. So it's like, I mean, all you bring is a glowing fist that sometimes works.
Sure, you got a mini Falcon punch.
Yeah, basically, you like your job is taken up. It's like playing an RPG and you've got 2 DPS builds. It's like one of you got to go.
One of you is going to be sent to be the healer.
But whatever. It's and then it doesn't help that Finn Jones was literally like one of the most, like when you're the main character of a series and you're literally the worst part of it, there's a problem. And Finn Jones was a terrible Iron Fist. He was bad. He was a bad Danny Rand. He was annoying and aggravating. Like the other characters are interesting. Like you watch Luke Cage and it's like, okay, I'm down with Luke. I'm down with these other characters. You watch Daredevil, it's like, man, I want to see where this goes. You watch Punisher, man, I want to see where this goes. You watch Jessica Jones. I mean, Jessica Jones season 2 was good for the first half, and then the second half kind of went off kilter, but overall still pretty good. But the first Iron Fist, I had to hate watch that whole damn thing.
Hate watch?
So I guess this means that Punisher will be filling out Iron Fist's slot.
Well, they're probably going to do a Punisher season 2, and they're doing a Daredevil season 4 and a Luke Cage season 3, which I'm happy about, and I hope they do a Jessica Jones as well, because I like Jessica Jones. Because I just want to see. I hope that they do a thing where she and Luke hook up, because in the comics they're married and they have a kid. So I want that shit to happen. just so that and it's Netflix, so it can be M-rated, just so that we can see their neighbors and see like, well, who's fighting next door? They aren't fighting, they're fucking.
And probably next time show nips. I mean, it's a TVMA show, so what's the deal with not showing any nips?
Punisher showed all types of stuff. It went beyond nipples. It was pretty graphic. Yeah, it was pretty graphic. Which, I mean, look, it's the Punisher. I'm not really upset by that, but it's like, here's the thing. I'm glad there's a part of the Netflix of the Marvel universe that acknowledges that people fuck. But anyway, yeah, I liked. I mean, it's not the. How can I?
It's not the highest quality, but something, right?
Yeah, and it gets the job done. Like personally, I just want to see. Like Daredevil's looking like it's gonna be good. If they do another Jessica Jones, I hope that works out. I want to see another Luke Cage. Like, I mean, like Iron Fist was just too much. Like, it's like, why are you here? You serve no purpose. And plus, you haven't proved. Like, if they had wanted to save Iron Fist, what they should have done was focus heavily on the martial arts action of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they should have gotten an actor who was more invested in the physicality of the character. Because here's the thing: the Netflix shows are done on a lower budget because it's basically TV, right? But with martial arts, you don't need a high budget. You just need someone who's good at stunt moves. Like they could have gotten the joke of Danny Rand could have been, he's a white guy who can't speak English very well because he's been in Kunlun for all this time. And so basically, like, he speaks in kind of this weird, almost dubbed over voice, but he's really good at martial arts. And they could have gotten a stunt person to do that shit, and it would have worked out really fine. Instead, you get this badly, like, corporate boardroom shit that just falls apart because it's not well directed. Thanks a lot, Scott Buck. It was not very well made, and that's the sad thing about it, is that it could have been awesome, but because of bad choices, it fell apart. So, but seeing what they've been able to do with the Netflix shows, what other IP would you like to see Marvel allow Netflix or some other streaming service do, like a grittier RM-rated take on?
Probably Deadpool once they merge with Fox.
Okay, Jewel.
Probably see about the Fantastic Four if possible, or maybe even the X-Men, but that's a reach.
I mean, I could do the X-Men like maybe
that's a reach because we all know how they'll fare.
No, the X-Men would work. The Fantastic Four, I don't want to see Sue Storm and Reed Richards fuck. I don't want to see it. Cause I don't it's like I don't want to see, like, girl, why don't you leave him? He can stretch any part of his body. Any part of his body to any size. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to watch, like, the Fantastic Four needs to be like, the Fantastic Four could work, but it's like you would still have to understand the family aspect of Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben, right? So
yeah,
I don't want to see them having sex. But I mean, if you want to see other people doing shady stuff, like if they turn it into kind of like an X-Files type thing, where, like, you have, like, maybe 13 episodes and an overarching villain that's like pulling things behind the scenes, but like kind of like a Monster of the Week vibe with each episode, that could work. Mm-hmm. And don't do the origin story again, because we know how the Fantastic Four come. You could basically have the origin story shown in like a newsreel, or like a YouTube clip in today's modern age, or some shit like that. I don't know, but I don't need to see, well, they went into space on an experimental rocket and they were bombarded with gamma radiation. Well, what was it? Cosmic rays, and they manifested superpowers. Reed Richards can stretch. Ben Grimm became the Thing. Johnny Storm is the Human Torch, and Sue Storm can turn invisible. Like, I don't need to see that origin story again. I know it by heart. I'm a Marvel fan, so I know it, and I think most people, like, even if they aren't really into the Fantastic Four, know that origin story. So
I was gonna say that you may have to think twice, because with how long it's been since we even heard of any of the Fantastic Four. I mean, outside of Doctor Doom.
Who they keep on messing up. But yeah, I think that could work. like do like a kind of a monster of the week type thing. Maybe have it set like 10 years after the events of the Fantastic Four getting their powers. So like the Fantastic Four exist, but I mean, you know, Reed Richards is always in danger of losing the Baxter Building. So, and the team is split apart. So like the first season could just be the team has split apart. So Reed Richards is like trying to get the team back together again, save his friend Ben. Like there's stuff going on. Like I think that could work out. And then, you know, like each episode is like has a dual plot going on where you have like the monster of the week plot, but then you have an overarching plot that's carried over from episode to episode where there's a shadowy figure using patents that Reed Richards has licensed out to do something nefarious, along with other people's inventions to do something nefarious. And this villain could or could not be Doctor Doom. I like. Here's the thing. I don't really want to bring Doctor Doom in the first season if it works out, because I mean he's used so much. You got to build him up more. You got to hype up. You got to hype him up.
As I said,
because he's the Thanos
of the character that has any knowledge of thing. I'm saying Doctor Doom is the only character that most people would know on the top of their head.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I would hint at him, but I wouldn't use him as the primary antagonist. Like I would have like at the end of the season 1, I would have like maybe you would use Tyrannus or Tyrannus. Tyrannus is this guy who like basically he like in the Marvel pantheon, he's like a third tier villain who basically he's insanely powerful, but he doesn't really like start shit that often. He's I mean he's useful as like a, you know, like you don't want to go with some of the more higher tier villains. You go with Tyrannus or the Mole Men or something like that, where it's like a third tier villain, but it turns out that Tyrannus is working for somebody else and it's Doctor Doom. You know, like I think that could work. Like you're not even dealing with Doctor Doom. Like he's like, look, I didn't want to do any of this. I was told to get this stuff and send it to some guy. He's like, where? And he's like, well, I don't know where he is. I just know it's someplace in Eastern Europe. That's all I know. and then like he's like, well, I got this data chip that gives you the general direction, and it's like Latveria. And you don't see Doctor Doom. You just find out it's in Latveria. And then people who are fans are like, oh shit, season 2 is gonna be Doctor Doom. You know? You know, Victor Von Doom. I'm a doctor. You dropped out of medical school, you son of a bitch. I gave myself a doctorate. That doesn't make you a doctor. But yeah, I think that could work as a TV series, as a Netflix style TV series. I wouldn't want a Fantastic Four done on network television just because it would be bastardized down, unless it was like late night network television like the X-Files was on Fox, where they could go into more disturbing type things. But those are my thoughts. Anything you got? Any other things that you guys would think would work well in the Netflix style?
Referring back to my idea of a Deadpool TV show, probably more based off of the Deadpool Corps comic series, where he teams up with alternate versions of himself, like the zombie Deadpool, the female Deadpool, kid Deadpool, dog Deadpool.
That'd be cool. That would be kind of a high budget show, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And Netflix is kind of being, they're trying to keep their budgets low on these, but I mean, you know, that could work. Would you get Ryan Reynolds if they animated it? It could be low. They could keep the low budget, but just use Ryan Reynolds' voice.
Yeah, they could make it animated.
So you're saying Deadpool. Jewel says Fantastic Four, the X-Men. Who would I go with? This isn't a Marvel series per se, but it is a comic book series I would like to see on Netflix. Like get the Netflix Marvel TV show series experience. What if they brought back Men in Black?
Oh, that actually would be an idea, especially since, if anything, that's a pretty weird one, especially when you think about especially when you think of how many different species there are. So be careful where you go in that direction.
Like, what if
will it be based off? Will it take place around the film versions of the Men in Black, but with different team members?
Well, I was thinking animated, and do like little 50, 55-minute animated episodes, and it's basically based on the animated series instead of the movies. Because I mean, Will Smith is getting really old, and Tommy Lee Jones doesn't want to do it, but the people who did the animated show are still voice actors, so you can still do that. Like, it would be cool if you have Agent J from the animated series is getting older, but Agent K looks exactly the same. He's like, man, how come I got gray at my temples and you still look the same age? Well, Slick, it's a new process. It's like, man, you took some alien technology, didn't you? You know the difference between you and me? We know you make this look good. How'd you know I was gonna say that? Yeah, because that was a really good show. And I think that if you had it, if you did it more anime-esque style, you could get more of that vibe from like early 90s, late 80s anime that was ultra violent with tentacles and shit. You could make the aliens look more alien. You could do ultra violent stuff. Because I mean, it was always kind of hinted in the animated series that there was some fucked up shit going on, but because it was a kids show, you just saw it would cut to some guy going ah, and then it would black out and then be like, someone's missing or someone's been cocooned up. Well, now on Netflix, you can show people getting horrifically attacked and transmogrified, and maybe some aliens are going in stealing people's organs, but they're not killing the people, they're just stealing their organs. So they're found by the Men in Black and it's like, this dude's missing a spleen, this guy's missing an eye, that could be a very interesting TV show, I think. Just saying. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I think that would be a really awesome Netflix, given the Netflix treatment. Don't do 26 or 52 episodes. Do 13, maybe above 10, less than 15, and then you could maybe an hour episode. So then you could really kind of do some character development, stuff like that. But I guess now we can move on to the second part, which is legitimately scary movies. So any legitimately scary movies you guys I won't say you've seen recently, but that you would recommend?
Horror movies are not my thing, so I'm passing.
All right.
And the only scary movies I saw was the time I was a kid. But looking back at them now, they're not that scary anymore, such as Sleepy Hollow and Child's Play 2.
Sleepy Hollow is still kind of scary. Because of the implications. There's that scene. This is the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow, right?
Right, the Tim Burton version.
Yeah, the implications, where you find out where that lady who was pregnant was beheaded, and then the headless horseman also beheaded the unborn baby. Like, that's just fucked up. That's like, god damn. You know.
6 degrees of WTF.
Yeah. Like I mean, to me, what's scariest isn't like jump scares. Like unless they're earned. Like if you earn that jump scare, then it's scary. But if you're just like, oh man, I played a loud noise, did a jump cut, that's not scary. That you're using people's
tension.
natural reaction.
You need to grow the suspense of disbelief and worry.
Yeah. Well, for me, what truly is scary is the sense of dread. So for me, I have 3 movies I'm going to recommend, and I'm going to give a brief synopsis of all 3 of them and what makes them scary.
And this is from somebody that hates horror movies.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with, well, I don't hate horror movies. I just hate horror movies that just do all jump scares. But I'll give you a film that's scary. David Cronenberg's The Fly. It's legitimately scary. It has really good special effects, but the horrifying thing about the film is seeing Seth Brundle's transformation as he becomes something else, and what he's willing to do in order to become human again. Like how he loses all sense of morality and what's right and wrong in order to try and become human again. It's horrific. It's horrific. And seeing the transformation and seeing what he becomes and what he does. There's a scene involving gastric acid when he's Brundlefly and a dude with a shotgun. It is horrific. It is one of those. It is truly horrific. Honorable mention: The Fly 2 is also good. Not as good as the first one, but it's also really good. Some of the gore effects are really good.
The gore effects made me want to barf.
Well, it's doing its job. But the second film that I would recommend for people who want to watch like truly good like horror and not just like jump scares. This is a film that actually has an earned jump scare, and it is John Carpenter's The Thing. It has an earned jump scare. There is a scene in this film where they're doing a blood test, and like the tension is building and building and building. And when there's finally like a moment where shit gets real, and you get there's a legit jump scare, but it's earned. It's an earned jump scare, so you don't feel, oh, man, that was cheap. You're like, shit, I didn't see that shit coming. And like that's the thing. I like legitimate jump scares. I don't like fake ass jump scares. I like real jump scares where they're earned. Like there was something put in place and set in motion that you earn that jump scare. The last truly scary film, well, it's not really scary, it's just something I watch on Halloween, but I like it because of the implications of what it means, is Stephen King's It. Not the new movie that came out last year. I mean the old one that was like a 2-part a miniseries with Stephen Curry as Tim Curry as Pennywise. Because the thing is like everyone's like, man, the special effects suck in that, but that's not the point. The point is when you use your logical brain to think about what's going on, it is seriously fucked up. Like the opening of the film where there's this clown in the sewers talking to this kid, and he has this look where, in a way, Pennywise in the miniseries is scarier than the Pennywise in the new one, because like he says this one line to Bill's brother, where he's like, "They all float, and you'll float too." And he has like the way he says it, it's almost like a pedophile going after a little kid. Which
that might become a meme in itself.
Which it works because Pennywise is a predator. And he goes after kids. So it works out pretty well. But I mean, it's like he just it's like, my God, this is some fucked up shit. You know, it's horrifying. And just how he victimizes these kids, how he victimizes and uses fear to torture them, and how he manipulates people and the children in this town. It's horrific. And I think the miniseries was able to capture that, whereas the movie had to gloss over a lot of it.
Well, it's been split into 2 parts, so the second part's supposedly being made for next year.
Yeah, but even then, there were too many jump scares in that movie, and unearned jump scares too. It was a good movie, but it's like, come on, man. How many times are you going to use the loud music and startle someone? Like, really earn the jump scare. Don't just, bing, ha ha ha. No.
Don't be the person that spoils the mood.
Plus, I'm going to be like the guy, look, if they don't have Pennywise go to grown-up Ben and say, "Kiss me, fat boy," I'm just going to lose my shit, because that was one of the best lines. And it's like, "Oh, darling, kiss me, fat boy." Oh! Get away from me. Oh! But yeah, I think I think earned scares are better than just jump scares. Honorable mention, The Mangler. It's another Stephen King movie about the irony of the movie is that it's about these people that work at this old-fashioned laundry, like industrial laundry center. But there's a giant bat that lives in the center that's killing people. But there's also this giant press for clothes called the Mangler in the basement. That's like fucking that people are constantly being injured on. It's one of those truly weird things where it's like, I don't get whatever, but it's a good movie. I like it. But yeah, those are some legitimately scary movies that, in my opinion, that I like a lot. More so than a lot of modern horror films now, where they're just like if you're doing a horror film and it's PG-13, unless you have a really good writer doing the screenplay for it, I'm not interested. Like, I need to see blood. I need to see horrific implications. I need to have that feeling of dread, like, oh shit, things aren't gonna be good.
What about making a horror movie that's a parody of jump scare effects, where the monster itself only kills people through jump scares?
You mean like Scary Movie? Oh, you mean like that movie with the dummy, where like if you scream, it kills you?
Yeah, you mean Dead Silence?
Yeah.
Or something like Five Nights at Freddy's, where they kill you by jump scaring you.
Oh, that's cheese. But I was gonna say that the movie that talks about silence being the rule of survival, that's kind of a pain, because people want to know what's going on, and having the movie be silent kind of makes it hard to work with this movie.
Well, there is A Quiet Place, which deals with silence.
Yeah, but that movie is just like, I mean, that's John Krasinski. That's John Krasinski's passion project with his wife, who's way too hot for him. But I don't know. I mean, like, horror is so subjective. Like, what's scary to me might not be scary to you. What's scary to you might not be scary to me. Like, everyone has, like, for me, like, I can watch something with a sense of dread, which is far scarier to me than just like normal like jump scare stuff. But there's some people, jump scares, they can't handle it. Like, they lose the shit. Like, I went to go see it twice. The first time because I saw it when it launched, when it opened, and there was a lot of teenagers in the crowd, and they fucking ruined it because they kept on talking and being loud and obnoxious. And I'm like, look, if you can't handle it, get the fuck out, because I'm trying to watch the movie. The second time I watched it, there were no teenagers in the crowd, and it was great because you could get the full import of the movie and not have people being annoying.
That's kind of a double-edged sword with theaters in general. Sometimes they're with you when you're laughing along a movie, or they're against you when they're blabbering around more important stuff.
I mean, like there's some genres of films that are good to watch in a crowd, like a comedy, right? Like a good comedy, people are laughing together. But horror, action movies, dramas, like I don't want to hear people's editorializing while I'm watching a movie like that, you know? Like seriously, like I think they need to get Samuel L. Jackson to record a thing. If you're in this movie theater and someone is watching something, shut the fuck up. No one cares about what you think. Keep it to yourself, motherfucker. Like, I think that would be far more appropriate. Because, I mean, look, listen, I understand that people are like, that some people don't understand movie theater etiquette. But here's the thing. People don't want to hear your editorializing. Like, the only time it's acceptable to have to interject in a theater is if you're watching a comedy or it's a kids movie and they're little kids, and then you kind of you let that slide. That's it. Like, no one wants to hear your editorializing with anything else. They really don't. You know, it's, you know, like, you know, if I wanted to hear your ideas about what the film should be, then you would have a degree in film studies and I would take your class. But you don't have a degree in film studies, and I'm not taking your class. I'm not at your house watching it in a watch party. So shut the fuck up.
But what if that president is actually a student of film studies? And
I have been a student of film studies, and anyone can tell you, like, when you're watching a film to critique it, you shut the fuck up and you watch the movie. You're not making comments to the film, because that's just rude. It's like going to a library and running your mouth, talking incredibly loudly while people are trying to work. It's annoying. It's not enjoyable. But anyway, but yeah, it's and another thing, since we're talking about movie theater etiquette, please, whoever you are, stop bringing your children, your small underage children, because you can't find a babysitter to rated R films. Please stop. It's really fucking annoying.
But it'll give your kids nightmares at an early age and develop phobias of certain things.
It's just annoying. It's just really annoying. Like, it's just really goddamn annoying. I know. It's like, we have a little kid and we can't afford a babysitter. We can't find a babysitter. Not my problem. I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm like Reggie from Nintendo. Not my problem. That's not my problem. Okay. that you decided to have children. Not my problem. My thing is that I paid for this movie ticket, and I paid so that without having to hear your kid screaming or asking what's going on in a rated R film, which I'm pretty sure your kid's not 18, shouldn't be in here in the first fucking place. But whatever. Yeah, I know it kind of devolved into a rant, but I had to get that off my chest because too often have I gone to films and people like rated R films, and someone brings their little kid to the film, and I'm like, come on, man, really? That's just kind of annoying. But I guess we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about, since we have a little bit of time to kill before we reach the 8:30 mark, which is when the Sci-Fi Power Hour issue is over.
Let's see if there's any sci-fi related news I have in mind.
Well, if anything, I got a quick question just to kill my curiosity. Is any movie coming up for you for this Halloween that you want us to check out?
Halloween, the new one from John Carpenter. He got the rights back, so he's getting it together, and he's making
a new Halloween movie that takes place in an alternate universe where only the first two movies happened and everything else after that didn't happen.
Well, not even the first two movies, the first movie. And then after that, just everything else. Which, I mean, like, here's the thing. I like Halloween 1 and 2, the original. I like the sequel. Even though it kind of makes no sense because Dr. Loomis shoots Michael at the end of the first one, and they brought him back because the first one made so much damn money. I actually like that they changed it so that Laurie was Michael's sister that he did manage to kill, which I thought was kind of a nice little twist, that he just really wants to kill his family and anyone else who gets in the way. But I mean, like, they're changing it now. It might be good, it might be bad, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably watch it.
Oh yes, there is one thing I should mention. Apparently, audience love the Venom movie.
Yeah, well, some audiences, like it's sitting what, 67, 70%, something like that.
It's actually at 89% at Rotten
Well, there you go. Audiences love it for what it is. I personally thought it was shit, but you know, what do I know?
And mind you, this is the same people who are polarized by The Last Jedi.
Yeah, but The Last Jedi is not a good movie. Like here's the thing, okay? Like, Venom is stupid, but it's fun. The Last Jedi is stupid, but it's not even fun. Like, you can let a lot of stuff go when something's enjoyable. You know?
But on the critics' side, they only it's kind of like the exact opposite with video games, where if it's fun, then it's done its job. If a movie is not fun, then that means it's done its job as being a good movie. Because all that matters to them is the choreography, the acting, and the tone of consistency.
Not really. I mean, the thing is that sometimes there's some movies that people know they're stupid, but they'll watch them. Like, you watch anything from The Rock, like Jumanji, right? Like the new Jumanji movie. That movie was objectively stupid, but people liked it. You know what I mean? Like Sony has found this niche where they can make really stupid ass movies that are fun and people will watch them. Now, me personally, like I only can watch so many stupid movies a year.
Before you break?
Like, I can only watch like one stupid movie a year, and then the rest of the time I want to watch something that's a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, like, I watched a stupid movie earlier this year, so I'm not watching another one. But everyone has their own
limits.
Everyone has their own things they can do, so whatever. But I mean, The Last Jedi was just stupid, but it wasn't fun. Like, never should you get out of a film and be angry at how they fucked up the lore
storyline
that goes with that film. Like, The Last Jedi just makes you angry, or at least to me, it made me angry. Like, what they did with Luke Skywalker, how they tied up storylines, how certain characters were quote unquote evolved, how they changed over time. It was not very well made, And to be fair, Star Wars has never been like the best written series.
Though many fans will argue otherwise.
Well, no. I mean, no one is gonna put Star Wars up there with The Godfather, which is a very well written series. Okay, except for Part 3, but Parts 1 and 2 very well made, very well written. Like, no one's gonna put Star Wars up with that because it's not that type of it's not like that, Or Indiana Jones. I love the Indiana Jones trilogy, I know there's a fourth movie. That movie doesn't exist. The Indiana Jones trilogy. But no one's going to put that on par with like Academy Award winning films, like some of the best films of all time, like The Godfather, Jaws, Back to the Future. Like, those aren't films that like you could put in the same category. Like, they're summer blockbusters. They're fun, they're enjoyable, but they're not like, oh man, this has really extended my grasp of theater. It's not that of the cinema. It's not like that. But I mean, it's fun. But I mean, when even that mediocre and kind of serviceable but not great lore is destroyed,
then you could say it gone to sheep.
Yeah, it's gone to shit. So, I mean, that's pretty much why I'm just like, I can't deal with this. This is too bad. This is not good.
Well, the Venom movie has already messed up with the source material by not including Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, they did mess up, but here's the thing, okay? Venom is arguably like the second most popular character in the Spider-Man mythos. So, I mean, you get a lot of people, I just want to see Venom. I just want to see Venom. Can they sustain this? Because here's the thing. The first Amazing Spider-Man made money. The first two Spider-Man films made money from Sam Raimi. But Sony inevitably gets in their own way and kicks themselves in the nuts. So when will that happen inevitably? I'm thinking maybe at Kraven the Hunter and Michael Morbius Living Vampire. That's when we'll get.
Silver and Black.
Yeah.
Cat.
That's when they will hit themselves in the nuts. So that's what I'm thinking. Because it never fails with Sony. They inevitably will hit themselves in their own in the groin themselves.
Which is an odd thing.
It costs $150 million to make Venom. So it's currently at 80 million at the box office.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that if it flops, then all those projects will be canceled outright. And we'll get to keep Spider-Man in the MCU for a little longer.
Well, I mean, even if it doesn't, like, I think Marvel will be fine. I think Marvel will be fine because Marvel just got a whole bunch of other characters they can use in their cinematic universe. The X-Men, I think the Fantastic Four, Namor, Galactus, Doctor Doom. So, I mean, we'll just wait for them to fuck up Spider-Man yet again. Because they will fuck up Spider-Man yet again because Sony can't help themselves. They're like a drug addict. I can't help myself. I had to take the drugs. They're like that Rockefeller Records song, Can't Stop, Won't Stop. But anyway, any other news anyone wants to bring up about science fiction?
I think that's about it from my side. Other than a quick shout out to another of my Discord friend named SpookX, as requested by him.
All right.
I only brought up a question, so if anything, it might stir up some conversation. So I'm already shot.
All right. So, anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Well, I remember I did do my review that I promised last week, so if anything, that's good.
Yes, on Discus, your review of Battle Chef Brigade.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys liked it or, well, it was just fair.
I haven't read it yet. I've been busy doing stuff lately.
I mean, like, okay. How can I put this? The way I feel about Battle Chef Brigade is that the game is the game is fun and there's depth there, but the combat gets a little repetitive after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if anything, the controls for it, it's pretty solid, and you actually can get with it.
Yeah, the controls work. The controls are very useful. I'm just saying that the actual, like, the real zest of the game is basically getting enough money to upgrade your equipment so that you can basically do more combos when you're cooking and stuff like that. Because that's interesting.
The setup I got is the chain pot, the cutting board, and the and I'm probably doing it wrong, but the pressure cooker.
Yeah, like that. Like, okay, the puzzle aspect is more interesting to me than the combat. That's the problem with the Battle Chef Brigade. Like, for me, that's my issue with the game. Now, overall, the game is solid. I just think the combat is a little too repetitive. But I mean, look, I bought the game. I play it occasionally. It's fun. It's just kind of,
it's kind of slow, right?
Well, it just gets a little repetitive after a while. The combat does. The cooking is awesome. Like, really, if that entire game was just them just cooking, like you just had the cooking aspect of it and the combat was taken out of it, I'd be cool. Like, I'd probably like it more. Because to me, the combat gets in the way of the cooking aspect, but whatever. I know what they were going for. But I mean, overall, it's a solid game. But yeah, anything you want to pimp out, Pinky?
Yeah, I'm saving those for tomorrow's BS Busters. Though I recently did post an article about sharing another article about dialogue redundancy in video games and anime, such as the infamous.
Some lines do get cheesy.
The infamous "people die when they are killed" line.
Yeah, some lines do get cheesy.
Yeah.
All right.
But then again, it can't be helped in a sense.
Okay, then. So I guess I got to pimp out my stuff. So basically, this is Mr. Red Fox. Stay tuned tomorrow where we'll be doing BS Busters, and our BS Busters for tomorrow will be talking about. Damn, I forgot the title. We're going to be talking about we're talking about games that we're playing. Are they any good? We also will cover the news of the week. So we'll talk about some big news that happened this week. Microsoft may be buying Obsidian. Cue Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith. No. No. And which just makes me angry. I did a video on my channel about it. Some people got really pissed when I mentioned how this is a bad thing. I don't know why, because I made a logical argument.
And of course, Sony doing something really controversial.
Well, we'll get to that because Sony's did like 3 things this week that were kind of jacked up. So I got to be more specific, but we'll get to that tomorrow. Right. Remember, we're always looking for guests to appear on BS Busters. If you would like to be in BS Busters, you can send a well, actually, just put your name and I would like to attend a BS Buster podcast in the comment section, and I will coordinate with each other, and I'll see if I can get you in. Because all you need is a microphone and an internet connection, obviously. But a microphone and internet connection, and you too can be a part of the BS Busters podcast. Thank you, and good night.
And hype responsibly.